Good morning and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. And as always, we're back with another massive show to bring you guys this morning. But before we jump into that, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's get straight on into it. So on the show this morning, we're going to be talking a little bit about a new director of football. There is a couple of stories coming out today saying that Manchester United are considering a new director of football. We will talk about that. We'll also talk a little bit more about the Jadon Sancho situation. We've had some updates there. We've also had some updates around Erik ten Hag as well, and about the security of his job, and also a bit of thoughts that are coming out from the club surrounding Erik ten Hag and why they're giving him more time. Also, a little bit of takeover news, a little bit about what's going on with that. Bit of an injury update, some big injury news to bring you, amongst some other things as well. Do get involved in the live chat. Get involved in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on everything we discuss on today's show. Let's start off with the Jadon Sancho situation really quickly then. So there's a story coming out this morning saying that apparently Jadon Sancho is still being made to train alone, in exile is the exact words they're using, while he refuses to apologise over his public dispute with Erik ten Hag. So if anybody missed the show last night, apparently he's been given an ultimatum, and the ultimatum is this: our stance is not going to change. You either apologise or you never play for Manchester United again. Now, off the back of this, Fabrizio Romano has also come out and said the following. He's been talking about Jadon Sancho, and he says that Jadon Sancho leaving Manchester United in January is now being discussed internally. So it looks like Jadon will go. I think that's the right decision for everybody. I think his time at Manchester United is up. He never lived up to expectations for me, you know. £375,000 a week, £70 million in transfer fees down the drain. We've just got to suck it and move on with it, don't we? We can't just continue with it, really, can we? We need to let Jadon Sancho go. It's absolutely essential. But let me know what you guys think about that. What would you do with Jadon Sancho? Do you think we should keep him? Do you think we should let him go? Where do you think he will go? He is currently being linked to Borussia Dortmund. But the big but here is, right, and not that kind, is wages. How would Borussia Dortmund be able to afford Jadon Sancho's wages? Jadon Sancho, 375 grand a week. Dortmund's highest earning player at this moment in time is Sebastian Haller on £182,000 a week. So he's on, what's that, half of what Jadon Sancho's on? Less than half of what Jadon Sancho's on. Crazy. So I don't see how they do this unless Manchester United are willing to pay pretty much, let's say, 50% of his wages. Then I don't see how we'd get him off the books, personally. And you know what? I'm sick of Manchester United paying people's wages. I just think it's stupid, because you're still going to be stuck in that situation in a year's time. Even if he goes to Dortmund and does really well, right? How are you then going to get them to pay 375 grand a week to his wages anyway? He needs to go to somewhere like Saudi, somewhere where they have the amount of money to give him his wage demands, because there's no way on earth that Borussia Dortmund are going to be able to pay Jadon Sancho 375 grand a week. Not a hope in hell. As I just said, their highest earning player is on half of what Jadon's on at the moment. So it's never going to happen, is it? We'll keep you updated on where he might go. I have a feeling that a club in Saudi might come back in for him. Obviously, there were clubs circling on transfer deadline day for Jadon Sancho. The deal didn't happen for whatever reason. Like, I'm not being funny. If I'm Jadon Sancho, I don't get the whole thing of being like, I'm 23, I'm too good to play in the Saudi league. Like, better players have moved to Saudi than Jadon Sancho. Even some younger, better players. There was that guy from La Liga, I can't remember his name. He was on the brink of moving to Man City, wasn't he? And then he decided to go to the Saudi league. You've got people like Ruben, you've got Neves, who was at Wolves. There's all sorts of good players. What's he called? The striker from Fulham, Mitrovic. Like, I know they're slightly older in their career, but I would say all of these people are better than Jadon Sancho. You know, you've got Kante, Benzema. The list goes on and on and on. Koulibaly. I can't think of any more. Ronaldo, obviously. Neymar. You know, there's all these good players out in the Saudi league now. So I don't really get the whole argument that Sancho's too good for the Saudi league. I mean, he's not too good for the Saudi league, is he? He's shown us nothing since he's been here other than caused us trouble, to be completely honest. So for me, he definitely has to go. And I think Saudi, anywhere that's actually going to buy him off us and cover all of his wages. Andrew says no one's going to want to buy an overpaid flop. I agree with you, but I think the Saudi league is a whole different kettle of fish, because I don't think the Saudi league look at it like that. They see it as just more of a boost for their commercial side of their league. So somebody in the chat saying it was Gabriel Vega who went to Saudi. Yeah, Almet Laporte as well. You know what I mean? There's all these not world class, but all of these international players who have moved out to Saudi, right? Why can't Jadon Sancho do the same thing? For me, he has to do it. It has to happen. But let me know what you guys think. I think loaning him to Dortmund is pointless. I really do. Like, if anything, that's actually rewarding his bad behaviour, because we're still going to have to pay half of his wages. He needs to either go or just leave him in the reserves. Like, as simple as that. And I think that's what Manchester United should do, because we know that the Saudi League opens, the transfer window opens on the same day as the English one, right? The 1st of January. So there's no reason why we can't sell him off to Saudi. No reason at all. We know that the Saudi clubs want him, so let's get that done. Let's see what else people are saying. Let's see what else people are saying about this Sancho situation. Malp says the season is a complete write-off. I kind of agree with you on that one, to be honest. What else have we got? Andrew says, to be fair, Saudi got Neymar, so I guess they can buy Sancho too. Yeah, exactly. Somebody's saying we should keep Sancho and sack Erik ten Hag. How many of you agree with that? Let me know in the comment section. I don't agree with that. I don't think Erik ten Hag, I don't think Jadon Sancho has shown enough for me personally. And then we've got Emmy who says, Kieran wanted Mawani and Ramos over Højlund. I think Højlund proved him wrong. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. We're not sure. We've only played 10 games. He's got 3 goals. I wouldn't say, he's done well in the Champions League, but I wouldn't say that, Mawani and what's the other one called? Gonzalo Ramos have been flops, have they? I don't know. I think it's too early to compare. I think what I said about Gonzalo Ramos and Mawani, I said that they were more developed at this moment in time. But I said that I thought Rasmus Højlund had a higher ceiling. And that I thought that for this season, we needed somebody to hit the ground running immediately. And that was why I thought someone like Gonzalo Ramos or Colin Mawani would have been better. So if you do want to do this comparison, because somebody's just called me out on it in the chat. So Rasmus Højlund so far this season, let me just get the stats up for you, because I'm more than happy to do it. And at the end of the day, you've got to remember, right, everything I say on this program is just an opinion. Opinions can be wrong. Like, if I knew whether Rasmus Højlund was going to be better than Colin Mawani, I'd be some sort of fortune teller or something, wouldn't I? So Rasmus Højlund's got 3 goals in 7 matches. Gonzalo Ramos has got 2 goals in 8 matches. So yeah, he's done better so far, but we're only 7 or 8 games into the season. Whereas Colin Mawani's got 9 goals in 8 games. So technically, Colin Mawani's got more goals than Højlund so far, if you want to go on that argument, which somebody in the chat started. So Colin Mawani so far's goal return is better than Rasmus Højlund's. I still am happy with Højlund, though. I'm not, at all saying I'm upset about it. And I 100% think that Rasmus Højlund's got a much higher ceiling than than either Gonzalo Ramos or Colin Mawani. I definitely think that. It's just whether my issue with Højlund in the summer, right, was not Højlund. I think Højlund is going to be a world-class player. From what I've seen of him so far, he is world-class. Already, I would say. He's got all of the attributes to become one of the best strikers in world football. I genuinely believe that. It's whether Manchester United can nurture him and turn him into that world-class striker. That's what I was unsure about, because when you look through all of the players we've signed over the last 10 years, right? How many of those players have we turned into a world-class player that we've bought? Garnacho maybe is on the route to do that potentially. Pellistri sat on the bench, pretty much been a flop. Ahmad sat on the bench, barely played. Jadon Sancho come in 2 years later, he's sat on the bench, protesting, not willing to play anymore. Who else have we bought? I can't think of any more off the top of my head, but I've just gone through 3 players that came in and were expected to be the next best thing. Pellistri, Ahmad, and Jadon Sancho. All 3 of them we haven't nurtured, have we? We haven't at all. And that's what I was concerned about with Rasmus Højlund. I thought that maybe for where Erik ten Hag was in his managerial career, he needed something that was already fully developed, that could just slot straight into the team and get goals, because that was what we needed. That was my thoughts, all right? And I think I'm more than happy with Rasmus Højlund. I really, really am. I think Rasmus Højlund's unbelievable. But there is so much unsettled situations at Manchester United at the moment. Is it the best environment for a 20-year-old to learn his trade and to develop? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't know. That was my concern in the summer, and that's why I thought Colin Mawani or Ramos was a better option, just because of that, purely because I thought that they needed to develop less. They were ready to start immediately. But we'll wait and see, won't we? As Malp says, Malp is agreeing with me here. Malp says we destroy players at Manchester United. That was my thinking. If you bring in Harry Kane, for example, obviously this is all hypothetical, but if you bring in Harry Kane, right, you know that he's going to get you 20, 30 goals a season, regardless of what team he plays for. Whereas The thing with Rasmus Højlund is obviously we don't know what to expect from him. He got, I think, was it 9 goals last season? Something like that. We don't know what to expect. It all depends on how Erik ten Hag coaches him, how the rest of the players perform around him, how he develops, whether he gets any injuries and all the rest of it. Whereas you know for a fact that someone like Harry Kane comes in and gets you 9 goals. Sorry, not 9 goals, like 20 to 30 goals, doesn't he? Let's see what else people are saying in the chat. Everybody who's just joined, can you please smash a like on the video and please subscribe to the channel if you are new. It really, really helps the channel. Doesn't cost you any money, so please go and do that quickly. We're on the road to 20k subscribers. Let's see how many we are off now. We're edging closer. We're 19 subscribers away from 19,700. So please do go and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's have a look. Right, let's move on to the next story. Right, let's see what else people are saying in the chat then before we do that. Saeed says we need to drop Rashford. He doesn't look focused. Play Garnacho. Sancho had the best chance to thrive, but he is a flop now. I agree with that. I think Sancho is done at Manchester United. I really, really do. Emmy says, don't forget Højlund is top scorer in the Champions League where all the best so-called strikers are. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, right, I'm very happy with Rasmus Højlund. I think he's a quality player. I really, really do. I love him. I think he's got all of the attributes to become world-class. That was never in doubt in the summer. As I said, and I'll repeat it one more time, what was in doubt was whether Manchester United could turn him into the player I thought he would become. That's what I was unsure about. So take all of the emphasis off Rasmus Højlund and put it onto Manchester United. My doubt was whether Manchester United, Erik ten Hag, his coaching team, the current situation at Manchester United with, you know, the takeover situation, the wingers not willing to pass the ball, were we going to turn Rasmus Højlund into a world-class player? That was my question. And I honestly still think that at the moment, because yes, he scored a goal the other day that Rashford passed him to, you know, when Rashford crossed the ball to him. That was, honestly, I was sat here like so happy about that, because Rashford could do that every single game and he would probably get 2 or 3 goals a game, Højlund. It's just whether Rashford does do that. That's the big question, isn't it? Let's see what else people are saying. Al says, everyone thinks PSG are bad because they lost to Newcastle. We wouldn't beat Newcastle. Yeah, we'll get absolutely battered when we go and play Newcastle away. I'm sure of it. Newcastle are a good team, especially at St. James's Park. So PSG aren't a bad side. They still look a little bit unbalanced, you know. And Newcastle were unbelievable last night. So fair play to Newcastle. One of my good friends is a Newcastle supporter who goes to all the matches. He was there last night sending me videos. It looked absolutely crazy. So fair play to Newcastle. Somebody says keep Sancho and get rid of Erik ten Hag. He has favourites, not on footballing ability. I don't agree with you there, mate. I don't. Well, so you honestly think, right, you sack Erik ten Hag and you bring Jadon Sancho back and everything changes? I don't think so. Maybe for one game. Maybe we get one bounce back result. MUFC Realist says, morning, Kieran. The problem is our fan base don't see long term, only quick fixes. Sack the manager and we'll be fine. Sell players and we'll be fine. Problem is the Glazers. I 100% agree with you. And as well, mate, I saw your email. I don't check my emails very often, but I just saw that yesterday, so I'll reply to you today. So yeah, I've not been ignoring you, just so you're aware. Right, let's move on to the next story, though. Let's keep things moving. We've been stuck on this Sancho story for a little bit now. Right, let's talk about the massive injury boost then. And this is really, really important. It is. So this is coming out from Samuel Luckhurst, Manchester Evening News. He's reporting that Manchester United will reassess the risk element of Serge Reguilon's muscular injury ahead of their game against Brentford on Saturday. It then goes on to say that Manchester United are provisionally planning to prepare Reguilon to start in the Brentford game. So that is a massive, massive boost, because it means Reguilon can go to left back and it means Amrabat can go into the midfield alongside Casemiro. So we will finally see that midfield partnership of the two centre defensive mid destroyers, Amrabat and Casemiro, playing alongside each other. And you know what? I am very, very excited about it. I cannot wait to see that. I think it's really important. I do. Because you know what? Seeing Amrabat play at left back is just infuriating for me. It really, really is. I don't think it's fair on him. I think he's done a good job, though. I do. I think he's done really good at left back. But I think we're going to see a completely different side when we have Amrabat next to Casemiro in that midfield. So very, very happy about that. Hopefully, this muscular injury doesn't become a reoccurring issue. Somebody did point out to me yesterday, which did shock me a bit, because as I've said to you guys in the summer, Reguilon isn't really somebody whose career I followed that closely, because I'm not a Tottenham fan. Obviously, I'm not Spanish, so I don't really know I don't know that much about him. Obviously, he was at Atletico Madrid last season, but apparently, I'm just going to double check this before I say it in case I am mistaken. Yeah, so it is correct. So last season, right, he was on loan at Atletico Madrid. He only played 11 games all season out of 38 matches because apparently he was injured for the whole rest of the season. Apparently, he's had a really, really bad injury record. So yeah, last season he missed, I think it was around 27 games through injury. He only played 11 games, and when I say 11 games, right, you're thinking, oh, that sounds all right. So a game's 90 minutes, right? He only played 317 minutes all season for Atletico Madrid last year. That's the equivalent of 3.5 90-minute matches. 3.5 in the whole season. Obviously, they were in the Champions League, the Copa del Rey. So there was probably 38 games in La Liga, probably 10 or 15 games in the Champions League, the Cup. There was probably about 60 matches worth of game time, right? And he only played 3.5 games out of 60. That's mad, isn't it? So I don't know why Manchester United keep buying these players who are injury prone. It really, really confuses me. And I don't know. I hope that he comes back and I hope that he stays fit, but that doesn't really fill me with much confidence. Muscular injuries are the ones that they play a match, it aggravates them, and then they're injured again. Do you know what I mean? It's just a recurring thing over and over again. So hopefully it doesn't keep becoming an issue, but we'll have to wait and see. It does look like he will start on Saturday though, so that is the positivity. Obviously, we do have the international break after that, which maybe will buy us a bit of time. Also, big injury news. Tyrell Malacia will apparently be back after the international break, so that's positive. I don't know what's actually wrong with him, but I saw someone on Twitter saying yesterday that apparently he's going to be back after the international break. So hopefully we finally start getting some people back from injury. Obviously Martinez, who else? Luke Shaw, all of those types of people, they're long-term injuries. I think Ahmad's a long-term injury, so we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. But Kobe Mainoo, Malacia are expected to come back after the international break. So that is positive. I'm happy about that. Let me know in the comment section how much of a boost do you think those two coming back will be. I think it will be a massive boost. I really, really do, because I think that we've seen how well our youth can play. That they play for the badge. They love the club. They want to give 110%. So the fact that Kobe Mainoo is going to come back, the fact that he will have a chance, I'm really, really happy for that. Okay, let's bring you a little bit of news on the takeover. Really, really small, quickly. So this is coming out from Manchester Evening News this morning, and it's saying the Rain Group, who's obviously the company who are managing the sale process on behalf of the Glazers. It says the Rain Group have still not responded to Sheikh Jassim's bid of around £5 billion. So he's still waiting. I mean, when was that bid submitted? I mean, it's absolutely mad, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it was before I'd even started this channel. It was. So do you know how crazy that is, right? Let me just say that again. The last bid that Sheikh Jassim submitted, right, which was on the 16th of May, I hadn't even started this YouTube channel. So we've literally heard nothing. That is mad, isn't it? Just think about that for a second. Since May, what's that? June, July, August, September, October. It's coming up to 5 months in about a week. Absolutely mental. Crazy. And it just shows you how slow the Glazers are being. Absolutely mad. Obviously, I will keep you updated as and when we get more information on that story. I think we're going to get some news in the next couple of weeks, but I will keep you updated. As well, I just want to say a massive congratulations to Garnacho and his girlfriend, who have just they've just the birth of their child, a son. So fair play. Let's all send our positivity towards Garnacho and his girlfriend on the birth of their child. So fair play to them. It was 12 hours ago it was born. So yeah, fair play. Right, let's move over to some news about the January transfer window really quickly. There's a story coming out from Rob Dawson this morning saying that despite tight financial fair play restrictions, there are already suggestions Erik ten Hag will push to sign a new centre-back in January. And you know what? I 100% back that. We all know we need a new centre-back. We know we needed a new centre-back in the summer. Every single one of you in this chat would have agreed on that, I assume, right? Does everybody here today agree that we need a new centre-back? I do. Varane's injury-prone. Martinez, I'm not going to label him as injury-prone yet, but I think he's on the way to being injury-prone. He's had 2 injuries in exactly the same area in his foot, which have been badly managed by Manchester United, may I add, right? 3 months he was out for the first one, foot injury. They then rush him back to play, even though it's not fully healed, and now he's out for another 3 months and had to have surgery again. I have a feeling that this it's his metatarsal in his foot, right? I have a feeling that it's going to become a recurring injury. Obviously, I hope it doesn't happen, but if it does, then that's another injury-prone centre-back we'll have. We'll have Martinez and Varane, our 2 best centre-backs injury-prone. We've got Maguire, who needs to leave. That's a fact. We've got Johnny Evans, who's 35, and most of you didn't even want. Maybe have him as a backup. And then you've got Lindelof, who's okay as a backup, but even then has his limitations. That's our defence then, going forward. I mean, even if we bring in a new centre-back, who does that centre-back partner with? I guess it would be Varane or Martinez. It would be one or the two, because both of them would probably have to kind of share the game time to manage their injuries. But let me know in the comment section, guys, who would be your centre-back in January? Let me know your thoughts. Who would you go for? Jean-Claire Todibo, Edmund Tapsoba, maybe Antonio Silva from Benfica? Anybody who watches this channel regularly will know that mine is Antonio Silva. 100% has to be Antonio Silva from Benfica. Obviously, we're also linked to Gonçalo Inácio from Sporting Lisbon. Lots and lots of different options out there. None of them are going to be cheap, but we definitely need to get this done because the injuries are really, really crumbling us at the moment. You know that, all strong teams are built from the back on the defence, and our defence is an absolute shambles at the moment. It's easy to blame Onana for everything, but what's in front of him have been absolutely awful as well. They have. They really, really have. Dallow's awful at defending. Lindelof is weak, gets pushed off the ball. Varane injured most of the season. Maguire, we know about Maguire. Martinez injured, and Johnny Evans was probably our best centre-back so far this season. No cap. Johnny Evans has genuinely probably been our best centre-back in the Premier League this season, without a doubt. Irfan says Antonio Silva is going to cost 100 million. It's a lot of money. I don't think he'll cost 100 million. Let me just double check. I think he has a release clause that I did read about the other day. Yeah, so his release clause is 120 million. You're right. 120 million euros, so about 100 million pounds. Absolutely crazy. 100 million pounds. He's only 18 years of age as well. I mean, the thing is, right, ever since Gavardiol went to Man City for all of that money, we know that that's the type of money that centre-backs are going to go for now. Maybe we'll look at Jean-Claire Todibo instead. I think he'd be available for around 30 to 40 million. We'll have to wait and see. Al says Saudi are interested in Varane. We should sell him in January. Maybe. I mean, if you sold Varane, you'd need to have 2 new centre-backs though, wouldn't you? And they'd need to be 2 good centre-backs because, yeah, I wouldn't sell Varane unless it was for astronomical amounts of money. Everyone who's just joined, please do go and smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are now... we're only 12 subscribers away from 19,700. So let's see if we can hit that by the end of the video. I've just dropped a link in the chat to subscribe. It doesn't cost any money. Yeah, somebody saying, what's my Twitter? I will drop the Twitter in the chat. I don't really do Twitter that much, to be honest. I go on it to read stuff, but it's not something I'm actively pushing. But I'm going to drop a link. I'm going to drop a link in the chat now if people are interested. So anybody who wants to follow us on Twitter, I've just dropped a link in the chat. Let's see what people are saying in the comments. Malp says Glazers spending money in January. Lol, good luck. Yeah, I think if the Glazers are here, we won't spend a penny. I don't think they will be here. I think they'll be gone. Royden says we need Varane. Irfan says send Casemiro and Varane to Saudi. Nah, not for me. Casemiro 100% needs to stay. Varane, as I said, if someone offered, like 80 million pounds, I would probably sell him, to be honest, just because of his injury record. I think if he could play every single game without getting injured, I think he's probably one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League still. Momentum Stocks says Varane looks half a pace slower this season. How old is he? I think he's 30, isn't he? Yeah, he's only 30. When you think, how old's Van Dijk? I think he's 31, 32. Yeah, Van Dijk's 32. Varane's only 30 and he's had to retire from international football because of his injuries. That kind of says it all for me. Right, let's move on to the next story though. Let's keep things moving. I don't want to get stuck on that for too long. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Erik ten Hag. Let's all give our opinions on where we are at the moment. Do you want Erik ten Hag in? Do you want him out? I'm 100% Erik ten Hag in. Now, Erik ten Hag, this is coming from Rob Dawson this morning via ESPN. The story says this. It says, Erik ten Hag has raised the issue of having the right body language when setbacks that happen in games and is increasingly frustrated that his message isn't getting through to particular members of his squad. So we can see that just from looking on the pitch. We can see that the the message that these players are giving off through their body language is so poor at times. You know, you think of Bruno Fernandes constantly blaming other people when he misplaces a pass, or when, you know, in the game against, who was it the other night? The game the other night, right? Against Galatasaray, Bruno kept missing shots from outside the box, and he was genuinely blaming the people around him. It's like, that shouldn't happen. It then goes on to say that sources close to Erik ten Hag say he doesn't feel that he can be as harsh in the criticism of the players as he'd like, because there are concerns about the mental fragility of the squad. I mean, that's just embarrassing, isn't it? That's like he's dealing with children. He's you know, treading on eggshells. He's having to tiptoe around them because he doesn't want to upset them. That just shows how entitled and how high these players' egos are, that Erik ten Hag can't give them criticism and can't be harsh towards them because they ultimately won't react well to it, and they'll probably down tools, and then he'll probably get sacked. That's the situation Erik ten Hag's in. So it's easy for us to sit here and say, get rid of Rashford, bench Bruno, and all the rest of it. But all of these bits of stories that are coming out are pretty much telling us that, in other words, that Erik ten Hag does want to do these things, but he's having to act very, very carefully around certain players. It's pretty obvious who those certain players are, because he knows that the reaction those players will give will not be the correct one or the right attitude. I mean, it's just a joke, isn't it? And it's the whole thing of player power is taking over again at Manchester United. And Erik ten Hag has been this, for me, this disciplinarian. Like, he's been so enforcing, you know, the Ronaldo situation, De Gea, Sancho. But is he going to be able to do that to Rashford? Is he going to be able to do that to Bruno? Is he going to be able to do that to all these other players? I'm not too sure. I don't know, because it seems like from these stories he feels like he can't. Caesar in the chat says Eddie Howe is the solution for Manchester United. I don't think so. I like Eddie Howe. I think he's a good manager, but I don't think so for me personally. Yeah, I don't think so. Let's have a look. Right, anyway, let's move on to the next story. Let me know what you think about that one. It's all just confirming what we already know, though, that, you know, the players' mentality is not right. Their attitude is poor. And it's just a bit embarrassing, to be honest. Now, the final story we've got for you today is on a new director of football. And some of this you will like, and some of you will not like. So take it all with a pinch of salt. It says that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is now strongly considering appointing Paul Mitchell as the director of football at Manchester United if his bid is accepted. Now, what do we all think about that? I know a lot of you in the chat do not want Sir Jim Ratcliffe, do you? Like, you're pretty clear on that. I'm in that same camp. I do not want Sir or Ineos. Obviously, let's be fair. It's not Sir Jim Ratcliffe, it's Ineos. I do not want Ineos to own Manchester United, but I would quite like Paul Mitchell to be the director of football. He would be somebody that I would be looking at if Sheikh Jassim did come in. Obviously, he was the sporting director of Monaco. Very, very good track record of identifying youth and bringing people through. I think he would be a very, very good director of football for us. But I wouldn't want Sir Jim Ratcliffe under any circumstance. And you know what? This is definitely just an attempt to try and win over the fan base, because I know that Paul Mitchell is the kind of hipster name at the moment in the director of football world. He's the type of person who a lot of the people on Twitter seem to really, really want. You know, when you look at the players that Paul Mitchell's discovered and brought through, he's definitely got a very good CV on him. But for me, I do not want I do not want Ineos anywhere near Manchester United. Not in a million years. If they were offering to buy 100% of the club, maybe. If not, no. So, you know, there's this whole situation, right, about Manchester United selling tickets to the Galatasaray fans. So if anybody missed that yesterday, absolute disgrace. Manchester United sold over 2,000 or literally ridiculous amounts of tickets, 1,000 to 2,000 tickets, right, to Galatasaray fans in the home end of Manchester United. So apparently Manchester United have now briefed the press to say that it's actual season ticket holders selling the tickets to Galatasaray fans that saw hundreds of their fans pocketed around Old Trafford. But if you actually go on the Manchester United website, right, they're now selling tickets which are available to anybody in the home end for the Copenhagen game for £175, which they're saying includes a museum tour after the match. £175. Absolute joke. They've just been caught red-handed pretty much, and now they're trying to cover their tracks. It's an absolute disgrace. Hopefully somebody gets sacked because of this, because literally they were putting people's lives at risk, genuinely. You know, putting rival fans in the same end as you in a European night, 8 o'clock kickoff. They've probably been drinking all day. Absolute joke. Yeah, they've just been called out though. Apparently they're doing exactly the same thing for the Copenhagen game. You can see on the website now they're selling tickets for 175 quid, available to anybody, and they're in what is the home end usually. Absolute joke. And it's just another reason why the Glazers have to go, isn't it? But right, I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined us on the show this morning. Please do make sure to smash a like on the video before you go. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. This has been Daily Red Devil. I'll be back a bit later on today. Have a lovely morning, day, evening, wherever you are in the world, and I'll speak to you all later.